Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another Superman movie review, everybody, and we're moving on to the very, very controversial Superman 2, everybody. And I have rewatched both movies because there is a theatrical cut of this that Richard Lester directed some of, and then there is the Richard Donner cut. That's right. We are in for a very interesting review and just chat about this very, very controversial movie. Because just like Zack Snyder's Justice League and the theatrical cut of Justice League, this happened many years ago back when Superman 2 came out, and Richard Donner finally got to put together and release his cut of this movie back in like 2005 and 2006, because it came out in 2006. So, this is going to be a good one, guys. This is going to be a good one. So, Superman 2 is split into two different types of movies here, because here's the thing: when Richard Donner was picked to direct Superman, the live-action Superman movie, they planned on filming the first and second movie back to back. Like, that's the way they were filming it and everything. And they actually got 75% of the second movie filmed, but then the studio execs and heads and the Sulkines stepped in and said, hey, the production and the budget and everything for the first movie is behind, and the cost of making this movie is getting too much because of the technological feats that they were doing with filming it, with him flying and everything. It was just stuff they'd never done before. So they said, we need to stop on the second movie and we'll finish it after the first movie comes out, because we need to get the first movie out. And the first movie was very, very successful. It made a lot of money. I'm pretty sure it made over like $300 million, which back in 1978 was a shit ton of money. So it was cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So it was great. Great reviews, everything. So then what happened is the problem is Donner and the Sulkines did not get along at all when making these movies. They did not get along. So Richard Lester was brought in as like a mediator and the communication person between the Sulkines, who are the producers and have the funding for the movies. He was the mediator and the communication person between Donner and the Lesters. Like, they weren't talking to each other. It was that bad. So then basically Lester replaced Donner to finish the second movie. So basically the same thing that happened with Zack and Whedon like years before. So this shit happened way before the Snyder Cut. It's kind of crazy. So yes, Richard Lester he replaced Donner to finish filming the movie. But the thing is Donner filmed 75% of the movie already. And because of the Actors Guild, if you film 70% of a movie, you have to be put down as the director of that movie. So they went back and they reshot a bunch of stuff in the movie, and they trimmed it to where Donner had only 60% in the theatrical cut, and then Lester did 40%. And because of that, Lester actually approached Donner and asked him if he wanted to have credit for being director, and Donner flat out was like, I will take no credit for this movie at all being made. So even though 60% of his movie was still there. So that just tells you there was some shit going on between the Sulkines, Warner Brothers, and Richard Lester and friggin' Richard Donner, man. There was some shit going on. So yes, Lester replaced him, and it upset the cast. Like Christopher Reeves, Margot Kidder, because the cast all came back for this second movie because they filmed most of it already. They were not happy about it. Like they built very good friend type relationships with Richard Donner filming almost both of these movies. And Christopher Reeves was never really public about it, but Margot Kidder was very public about it throughout the years, about how she did not like the creative ideas that Lester did and brought, and they reshot certain things. Like she did not like what he was doing. Gene Hackman was even worse. He did not even come back to film the reshoots that they had planned for his character, Lex Luthor. He did not come back. He was that upset about it. He was like, no, I'm not coming back. So they had to do some different things to retweak his scenes in the movie and use the footage that was already there. And the shooting schedule changed and it interfered with another movie that Christopher Reeves was making. So they had to fork out more money to him and give him some creative opportunities with the franchise, which we do get to see later on. It's just crazy the stuff that went on this. And the movie, as far as like the story goes, the movies are basically the same. You got the same basic story where Superman accidentally lets out Zod and his goons and he has to fight them, and then we get this little story about how he gives up being Superman because he loves Lois Lane, and then he's got to get that back and save the world from Zod and everything. The basic story is the same, kind of like the Snyder Cut. You get the basic story, but there are certain scenes that were completely changed, and then there's little scenes that were changed here and there with lighting, the dialogue, how they were shot, and everything. And then the music was different. It's crazy, people. Like, it's just crazy. And kind of the order of the scenes were changed up a little bit between the Donner cut and the theatrical cut. And I do think that the Donner cut, even though there are a couple things in it, where, like, when Lois finds out that Clark is Superman, that's one of the major things that changes in the movie, was at the Niagara Falls resort. You know, in the theatrical cut, he accidentally trips into a fire and his hand goes in it and he pulls it out really quick and she looks at his hand. She's like, oh my God, there's nothing wrong with your hand or whatever. You are Superman. And then the Donner cut, they use some early screen footage, like test footage of Reeves and Kidder working together before they started filming. And she freaking shoots him with a gun in the hotel room instead, and it's a completely different room because it was way before they started filming. Shoots him with a gun to find out he's Superman, and you find out it was a blank, which, yeah, okay, it's kind of crazy, but she did jump out of a window at the Daily Planet in the Donner cut in the beginning of the movie to be like, you're Superman, because she draws on a newspaper and puts his Clark Kent outfit on Superman, and she's like, whoa, wait a second, that's Superman. So she jumps out of a window in the Daily Planet, and he saves her with, his wind breath, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then in the theatrical cut, she jumps into the river at Niagara Falls, and that was in the theatrical cut and stuff, and he saves her that way. So it's just, things are different. And like the beginning of the movie, in the theatrical cut, Superman goes to France to help Lois because there are some terrorists in the Eiffel Tower that are going to set off a bomb. So that whole sequence in the very beginning of the theatrical cut is not in the Donner cut at all. That was some new footage that was filmed. The Richard Donner cut, we get a replay of the first movie ending where he takes the nuclear missile, and when he takes it up into space, that blows up and releases Zod and those guys. Whereas in the theatrical cut, the bomb in the elevator in the Eiffel Tower gets stuck out in space and blown up, and that's what releases those guys. Like, it's just stuff like that. And all of the Fortress of Solitude stuff and the stuff that they reshot on Krypton, because Marlon Brando and Warner Brothers had this big-ass lawsuit with each other. So Marlon Brando literally could not be in Superman 2. They couldn't use any footage that they'd filmed from the first movie and what they had filmed of the second movie already because of this lawsuit. So Laura, his mom, his Kryptonian mom, was used in the original version, the theatrical cut of Superman 2. She was the one in the fortress in the second movie and everything. And in the Donner cut, because the lawsuit was taken care of by the time he was working on it in 2005, he brought all the Marlon Brando stuff back. Even the new stuff that we didn't get to see was put back in the movie, and it makes that fortress stuff so much better. The Fortress of Solitude scenes in Superman 2 are so much better with Marlon Brando in place. Like, it's way better. It fits better with the story and the stuff with him and Clark. It just fits way better. And the ending fight sequence in the fortress, there's a lot that's different. In the theatrical cut, you get freaking Superman ripping off a cellophane Superman shield off of his chest, and he wings it, and it wraps him up, and I'm like, ugh. That shit's not in the Donner cut. They took that crap out. Like, my God. Yeah, so that was better. John Williams, the score, he saw an early cut of John Lester's version of Superman 2, and he stepped away. He said, I don't feel like I can score this movie now because of all the drastic changes that have been made. So they brought in Ken Thorne to kind of duplicate and replicate what John Williams already did. And he took John Williams' music and put his little spin on it. And I don't think that has as much oomph with it with John Williams' music. It's kind of the same, but it just doesn't have that wow factor like John Williams' original music did. He won an Oscar for it, though. Like, Ken Thorne won an Oscar for this movie for the score. But yeah, like, John Williams was even upset over this shit. So it's crazy, people, like, crazy. And there are silly things about the movie still, even in the Donner cut. Like, Superman uses his freaking time travel thing where he spins around the earth, and he literally just reverses everything that Zod and those guys did, and all the destruction, and Lois finding out about him being Superman. He like just reverses time and just erases all of it again, like he did in the first movie, which I find kind of silly. But in the theatrical cut, that doesn't happen. And the way that he gets Lois to not remember him being Superman is he kisses her at the Daily Planet, and it erases her memory, which is completely silly, but is in the comic books. It is in the comic books in the late 70s. It was a power that Superman had. They did retcon it eventually, though, so people don't really know about it, but it was a power that he had. But it is ridiculous that they used it. So, but overall, guys, Superman 2, very controversial Superman movie. Very, very, very. I do think the Richard Donner cut is the better version of the movie. The theatrical cut, I grew up watching. I loved it when I was a kid. I still do enjoy it, but there's just a lot about it that's kind of, it feels awkward, especially after watching the Donner cut. So I'm going to give Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, everybody. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. It is the superior Superman 2 movie to watch. This is the first time I've watched the theatrical version in probably like 10 to 15 years. Pretty much since the Richard Donner cut came out, I don't think I've watched the original Superman 2. So yes, an 8 out of 10 for Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. I hope you guys enjoyed that crazy ass talk about this very crazy movie, people. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. And be catching you on the tube later because I have spoken.